This podcast is scheduled for one fall.
Whoa, who let you out of the basement? Let me do this. This podcast is scheduled for one fall, and I'm still not reading any of this other crap you wrote, so just click your buttons and start the show.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Gimmick Table. I'm your host Matt. We're going to take it easy on the man across from me today. He's just bats, a little more concussed than usual. How is your head?
I mean, it still kind of hurts, I guess. Got a pretty bad headache. Got rear-ended the other day.
Went full circle. A guy we worked with over a decade ago rammed into the back of him. Might not be the first time he rammed into his back either.
Nope, yep, that's the first time I've ever been rear-ended. It's the first, car crash I've ever been in. It's a scary thing.
You're concussed. You might not know what's going on. But real quick, we want to give a plug. We always give a plug on the show, so we're going to do a little self-promotion today. We're going to tell you about something that's been taking up some of our time, and we apologize that we haven't been as consistent, but we're back in action. We want to tell you, though, about our Twitch stream that's doing really well. It is the World's Worst Gamers, which you can find at twitch.tv/World's Worst Gamers. Give us a follow. We're usually on there every night around 9:30 p.m. And this is some of the commentary that you can enjoy while we suck at video games.
I got a burst assault rifle and I'm in enemy territory.
You are in the territory of the enemy. Let's go. Let's go pick him up. He's in enemy territory.
Wait, what?
He's behind enemy lines. Let's go save him.
Why are you talking like the candlestick from Lady and the Champ?
Nope.
Lumiere.
That's not even
like,
right,
You
David.
sound like Lumiere.
Yeah, that's not the movie he's from.
What do you mean?
Lady and the Tramp?
Oh, wait a minute.
The two dogs?
No, I meant to say Beauty and the Beast.
So that's just a little bit of the commentary you can enjoy. We believe one of our fellow streamers might be a serial killer.
That's not me.
Yeah, it's neither of us. We are totally sane for the most part. I stress the most part. And remember, once again, guys, if you enjoyed today's show, make sure you subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, or wherever you get your podcast from. Help get our guest into more people's ears. Help expand our reach. So it's time to do it, bats. Everybody, please join us in welcoming to the Gimmick Table. He is Trajan Horn. How goes it today?
Very, very well, my guys. How are you doing today?
Doing good. Some better than others.
A little, worse for wear.
That's
the way you say it?
You got it.
I got it that time.
You got it. Can actually say for once it's a beautiful day here in Binghamton, one of our 80 days that will actually see the sun.
Absolutely. If you can weave through gunshots, then Wilkes-Barre also looks very appeasing today as well.
So we better count our blessings for that one, that we actually get some sunny weather. I know they say you need 10 to 15 minutes of sunlight a day to get your vitamin D. I'm pretty sure in this area of the woods, neck of the woods, you got to take that. You got to go outside for at least 3 hours a day just to compensate for the days that you're not going to get any.
Some ladies come see the Chubby Daddy for 15 minutes a day for their daily dose of vitamin D. So absolutely.
I was waiting for it.
All right, which leads me to my first question. Thank you for doing the segue for me and the legwork. You are the Chubby Daddy, so before we go any further, kind of give us some insight to the name, where it came from.
Oh man, a gentleman never tells. I enjoy being slightly mischievous. I mean, I'm one of those people who I don't have one reason for anything. There's always multiple reasons, one way or another, behind whatever it may be. And the daddy kind of came as it's more of a confidence thing, the whole Chubby Daddy. When I first got into the business, and I don't recommend people not hitting the gym or doing anything like that, but when I first got into the business, everyone was like, you need to have a six-pack and huge pecs, and you need to have a fake tan, which led me to getting sun poisoning, which is I might get into in a second. But it was one of those things where I tried being this super tough guy gimmick, and I was just I'm just gonna be myself, and I could be very serious, but the whole Chubby Daddy thing was my confidence on saying to people, you should be working on bettering yourself, but at the same time, you should have the confidence to be who you are. And if you're chubby, you're chubby. But the thing is, you can call me chubby, but I'm gonna go out in that ring and work the same way you are. But also, daddy, it's from the term granddaddy, like the granddaddy of them all. So it kind of plays into that. Or a lot of times I'll consider myself the celestial daddy, like the all-around daddy, like the daddy of the galaxy, which is like the best of the best. I'm the granddaddy of them all, you know. So your daddy calls me daddy. That's really the whole runaround of like who it is, because like that's the thing is like, you know, I mean I have long beautiful hair, but that's about the most luscious thing to me. So at first glance, you know what I mean. I'm not the prettiest. I'm like a pug. I'm so ugly. I'm cute, but at the same time, there's an actual charm in that. There's that little that swagger to it that lets you know that like I know what I'm working with, but I'm gonna give you 100% of like what I got.
And that's got to kind of throw people off. You're owning who you are. That's pretty awesome that you kind of are embracing who you are and living beyond the gimmick as yourself, kind of turning up the volume on who you are. It
is me 100%. You know what I mean? I'm like. It's one of those things that I've gotten in arguments where people are like, can you turn this off? And it's just like, I mean, I can calm down, you know what I mean? But like, in all reality, this is just a side of me that I'm just like, I'm portraying and I'm letting out. So it's one of those truly things that it's just like, it's a natural thing that comes out. And I mean, it kind of gets to me sometimes too, where it's just like, whatever mood you get me in, like, that's the mood that the daddy's going into it in. So it's kind of like that Jekyll and Hyde thing where it's just like, if I'm in a bad mood that day, then like that's the kind of you're gonna get that sassy side of me and that attitude that's gonna portray for me, because it's how I'm feeling that day. If I'm feeling silly and happy that day, like you'll see it where I'll be super silly, but like I'm still gonna hit you like a Mack truck.
Now, one thing I gotta say though is the first time I heard you refer to that was at the Excite show when you, Austin, and myself were sitting outside. And he's like, you're the Chubby Daddy on Instagram. So when I initially tried to find you for an interview, I go onto Instagram to see just, all right, I'll message him on Instagram. I'm typing in like Chubby Daddy, and I'm still having nightmares about this man. Like, so that's my only negative, or more of a public service announcement to everybody out there. Don't search Chubby Daddy.
No, do it. Just Google it. It's worth it.
Oh no, yeah, no. Like it's funny because like some promoters will tag me in YouTube videos as like Chubby Daddy, or like they won't, because my first name is like the hardest thing ever to people. It's mind blowing in 20 some years that I've heard people just get it wrong so many times. But like that's one major thing. So like, I'll go on YouTube and I'll type it in, and I'm just like, oh no, I know what I'm in for. And then you have to like weave through all of this, and you might find one video of you, and it has one like, and you know that one like was that guy who went there for the weird shit and got me. And he's like, well, he's not that bad. I might as well watch him a little bit.
But you're at the bottom of the Chubby Daddy rabbit hole.
Yeah, like my biggest success is that one creepy dude who watched my video. Probably in like Arkansas.
This wasn't what I was looking for, but I like it.
I'm glad I found it.
Yeah.
Today was a good day. I'm not gonna kill myself.
Yeah, because he watched probably a good wrestling match, and I wear crop tops, so he probably got the best of both worlds and what he was into anyway.
So when you're not fulfilling strange Chubby Daddy fantasies for men on YouTube, I don't even know how to segue into this, but
I'm going to tell you right now, that's not the way to do it.
When were you first, when did you first find professional wrestling?
Man, like so long ago. I discovered professional wrestling. I have divorced parents, so at the time of their divorce, WCW was a thing, and still, obviously, it was like the Monday Night Wars, pretty much. And so that kind of explains my childhood in one way or another, because like my mom got me into wrestling, and my mom has been my biggest supporter in all of this. Like I remember being like, hey, I'm eventually just going to throw everything away and become a professional wrestler. And she was just like, it's your dream, go for it. And I was just like, and we high-fived. It was like an epic moment. But she got me into professional wrestling, and she was kind of always into it, and like at the time she was probably dating somebody who really kind of drove it in there. Like professional wrestling was just that live art form that as a kid it just caught you, and you had guys like Stone Cold and The Rock and Val Venus and the Generation X and all those guys. So it's just you get stuck in it, and it's one of those things that like you kind of develop a liking for. And then on top of it, oddly enough, like because WCW was big and Goldberg was big, my dad kind of watched it. So like I would watch WWE or WWF at the time at my mom's, and I'd go to my dad's and watch WCW. It was one big Monday Night War, one way or another, growing up.
But a way to really escape, and that's what we talk to a lot of people about. That's kind of how people have connected to it over the years, that they can kind of use it as an escape from reality and kind of see larger-than-life characters.
Yeah, absolutely. Not that you could tell by my tie-dye gear, but I'm very big on escaping reality. I really enjoy books, and I really enjoy movies, and that's a big thing for me. Is like I'll go to the movies by myself because like I really enjoy cinema. Like before I became a professional wrestler, I was in college a little bit for audio and visual communication, and like that was one thing I wanted to do. Is I wanted to have action films based heavily around like wrestling moves and bare knuckle boxing and things like that, and the whole more of like the carny side of professional wrestling, that dark underground style. And I dropped out of college obviously because college is for losers, kids, remember that. And I became a professional wrestler after years of being an awful musician, and to this day, for the record, still an awful musician. But so like that was one thing, is like being in a theater calms me down. I love still going to see live wrestling, like even if I'm not booked or a chance to be booked, or even I'll watch a show in the back just because I could watch the whole crowd, I could watch the whole ring, and like that's something I really enjoy. It's one of those things that you escape whatever is going on in a movie. They make you shut your cell phones off. Like, so whatever's going on in the outside world, if a nuclear bomb is going off, you don't know because you're stuck in this movie or in a book. So like I really do enjoy like escaping reality in that sense of like you're able to forget, or you're in that moment. Like you watch Star Wars, you're in that moment where you get stuck and you're like, oh my God, that's Luke's dad, It's one of those moments where you're completely out of it. Anything could happen and you wouldn't know because that moment is going on.
I feel you on that because I love movies and like even TV shows that do that. It's like, you especially like when you binge watch a whole series, you really get into that, and that gets you out of reality for a little bit when you're spending hours at a time, like the whole day watching a show. You get into that world.
Oh my God! Look at professional wrestling. Like watch a super fan, watch WrestleMania, and then watch a super fan watch the Super Bowl, and like compare the two, because people will sit there all day and give wrestling, they'll discredit wrestling for what it is, but you could watch somebody freak out at like Roman Reigns or somebody, and then you watch a football fan do the same thing, and it's kind of funny because it's like wrestling, like they'll sit there and they'll discredit wrestling, and it's like, well, you'll get lost in it the same way you get lost in a professional football game, you know what I mean? Just
right.
One is a little bit shootier than the other.
Exactly. I gotta back up a little bit here. You said you were a terrible musician. Did you have a band, and what was your band's name?
Oh God.
Back it up.
I've been in plenty of bands. I was in a band when I was in college called Foul Taste.
Foul Paste?
Foul Taste.
Foul
like,
taste.
Yeah.
Oh.
And like the whole gimmick was like, we'll put a bad taste in your mouth.
Oh, jeez.
And, oh God. We were awful. But the cool thing is we were 19 years old and we were playing for beer in bars. And that was kind of cool because we were just playing with really bad punk bands in a really small bar. And like the bartender, like he knows that like the whole build, like not the building, because it was a very small room. The whole room is packed out. There's probably like 80, 90 kids there. We're all friends. So it's like, it's not like people went out of their way to come see this show. It's like they're going to drink in downtown Wilkes-Barre anyway. So 19 years old, the bar's packed out. There's garbage bags of just beer because we literally sold the bar out of beer. And I think that's one of the reasons why he let us drink. But I walked up and he was like, he asked me a question about a year that would be like, that would put me over 21. And this old man didn't know that I know a little bit about pop culture. And I gave him the right answer, and he was just like, oh, you must be 21 years old. And then just like, just endless beer for the night. I got paid in free beer to play really shitty hardcore music in a packed out bar. And like, I got to play like small shitty music festivals and things like that. And like, being a musician sucks. Being a professional wrestler is way cooler.
I don't know. That's like a 19-year-old's dream right there. Just playing bands for beer.
I was fat and wearing a jean vest with no shirt on underneath and way too tight of black pants and no shoes. And like still to this day, I don't wear shoes that often. Like summertime is a time for no shoes. If you're wearing shoes, then you're stupid. Like you need to get with the earth a little bit. So like I wore no shoes. I'm just hanging out in downtown Wilkes-Barre, just being a chubby drunk 19-year-old I should have more denim on, technically, just to cover my body up more, and just awful. Just a debauchery of a late teenager into my early 20s, which thankfully I grew up a little tiny bit more.
I'm sure the city of Wilkes-Barre thanks you for.
Oh yeah, no, I'm a very, very positive role model in my community, if you will.
So we're talking like a nice little.
Oh man, God no.
No.
Crust punks sit outside.
Crust punks suck.
Crust punks do suck, and it's funny because like I also rave. So like raves have wooks, and Wookiees and crust punks, I hope, never meet, or maybe they're just like an evolution of each other. Like you're a crust punk for so long, and then you eventually, I think, develop into a Wookie. I don't know the exact process.
I've
been trying to study them for some time, and they're very territorial, and they smell like piss.
I would like to.
We need to go deeper into this.
I'd like to join your research and then come back and do a full podcast just on the Wookie crust punk epidemic.
Yeah, give me a quick synopsis of what makes a Wookie.
That was a bad Wookie.
But it's the same as like a crust punk. Like a Wookie, like they are trying to barter, and they try to beg. Like they're one of those people who like they're very big on ground scores and things like that. Guys, we don't have enough time to go into this. This is like a full. I have to get medical research out now and things, and like scientific papers that I have.
Well, I get it because I've known a few crust punks in my day, and it's pretty much the barter, not so much the beg and give me your drugs kind of mentality. Share.
Well, they haven't learned their barter skill yet. Once you get dreads, you start getting bartering.
The guys who are like, hey, do drugs with me because I'm cool to be around when we do drugs.
You know, like the meme where it's just like, I saw it the other day, and it was just like, little kid, when you're eating chicken nuggets, and the little kid's like, they say, hey, I like chicken nuggets, instead of just asking you for some. That's like crust punks and like wolves. They're like, oh, I like weed. And it's just like, oh yeah, me too. You should go away now. Then you have to scurry off, because if not, they'll follow you. They'll hop a train to wherever you live, or hitch a ride.
Right. So, Bats, the difference between a Wookiee and a crust punk is just what preference of music they like with your drugs.
I guess so. I guess they both have patchwork pants, so we've come a long way in this research.
Fuck them both, I say. Fuck them both.
Yeah, that's the best thing to do is just avoid them. They both have strangly dogs with them, that haven't eaten in a couple of days, and I probably just have been eating K. So like, stay away.
You can't tell me
you
that.
Should just call your local authority.
I need to now go rescue all the crust punk and Wookiee dogs.
Good luck.
and they're all on. The dogs are on drugs, and they're gonna want drugs, and I don't have any.
Oh, the dogs are definitely on. They're definitely on drugs for sure. They're trying to trade dog food for like, vitamin C and caffeine pills or whatever dogs would be into.
Dogs drink Red Bull, right?
God, if I know. Honestly, the best thing to do is look up, Google, get pictures, hang around your community, don't let them in. That's the best thing to do.
Somewhere there's a group of crust punks, and they each have a dog, and they just keep trading the one bag of dog food to each other for drugs until all the dogs die. And then nobody wants the dog food.
The dog's been gnawing on its like Sham 69 pin or whatever, and just like it's got the dog has a vest on for no reason. The dog at this point is just trying to barter its jacket for like some food. It's just like, yo man, I'll give you this jean vest with these pins if I can just have a cup of that shit. And the crust punks are like, hold on, dog, you can't make these decisions. It's a dog.
Yeah, we want drugs.
we want drugs. And then they just share the drugs and they pass out. The dogs eat the food. And that's like the evolution of crust punks. And they're in an abandoned building somewhere.
Yeah, not it's listening to this podcast.
I think we were talking about wrestling. Somehow we got here. I like where it's like taking a wrong turn and your GPS is trying to get you back. Like you're eventually going to get there, but enjoy the scenic view of whatever alleyway you're driving down to.
That's actually a great metaphor for this show.
Pretty much. And now this is how we could segue, into wrestling. So here we go. I'm going to try one. All right, you ready? All right, so wow.
You already did.
Wow. Well, the crust punk. Oh, he did the segue, didn't he?
Yeah, you doubled segue in, man.
Well, the crust punks are dreaming of your drugs. When did you decide to go for your dream of professional wrestling and kind of pursue it?
Okay, so I decided at 18 that I definitely wanted to do it. But me being a dumb 18-year-old and doing a million other things, I knew there was training centers, and I was saving up to go to these bigger training centers. And then I had, literally no idea that there was a training center 20 minutes away from me. And not only that, even technically, the Wild Samoans wasn't too crazy far away from me to drive to get there. But I just didn't know, I didn't know any wrestlers. I didn't know where to begin. And then I met a kid and he told me about backbreakers in Scranton. I was just like, oh man, I'll go try it out. And this is probably about 20 years old when I first, 20 years old. When I first stepped into the training center and started getting things going. And then I think I debuted around, I only trained for 7 months, and then he was just like, you're ready for a match. And I was just like, all right, man, yeah, cool, I definitely got this. And I worked with a guy named Wild who lives in New Orleans right now, and I don't know what he might still
man, I was hoping for kind of an update on him.
He definitely works at a bar.
All right.
And he definitely does something of that sort. I actually got the irony of this thing is he's not a bad guy at all, but me and him just never got along. It's just sometimes you have people that you don't get along with, and me and him never stood or saw eye to eye, mostly because he was a little bit shorter than me. But so we had this match together, and I hate Dio, and he came out to Dio, Rainbow in the Dark, and it sounds crazy. I know, oh my God, somebody hates Dio, but yeah, whatever. I'm an Aussie guy. But I hate Dio. He came out to Rainbow in the Dark. Me and him didn't get along. So he moves, and the promoter for GSW comes up to me and he's like, hey, since he moved, we need somebody to, we're going to do, this, the whole fake Sting ordeal. And they're like, so you being young and we wanting to put you into the company, you're going to come out to Rainbow in the Dark by Dio with his mask on, and you're going to play him. And I was just like, wow. Irony is just irony is probably what makes the wrestling world go around one way or another. Because what are the chances that that's the whole score in it? And I don't think he was happy that I played him, because I didn't do a very good job at all.
Oh well. And for your first match, you got to hear Dio. That's got to suck. You're all pumped up. ready to go, nerves, and then Dio.
Fucking synthesizer. Like, synthesizer. And Dio. And I'm just like, great. You know, like, this is... I came out to... what did I come out to? Pharaoh Monch, I think it is. Like, it's pretty much Joe's theme song from forever ago, and didn't connect the dots. And then after that, I was starting to come out to, like, Pantera. Like, I was coming out to some pretty good, solid jams, and Dio. Came out to...
Well, but outside of having to deal with Dio, how important do you think it was to kind of get through that first match?
Well, I mean, it's like anything, you know. Like, you have to. That's like you could do all the preparation in the world before that first match, but until you get into that ring and have it, I mean, it's the first step. It's training is just like it's like cliff diving. It's like training is the whole trail walking up to the cliff, and then once you get there, they're like, all right, go ahead, jump. You have to take that first jump, and it's nerve-wracking and it's nervous. Like, you're nervous the whole time because you don't want to mess up and you don't want to be, you know, and you don't realize it yet. You don't realize that you have to fail to succeed. So, like, you don't realize how many bad matches and how many good matches are ahead of you. You're just like, you know, like, this match has to be perfect and it has to be the one. And then, you know, the bell rings, and from bell to bell, you're either going to have, you know, a good, decent, or shitty match. Either one way or another, it's not going to be the greatest match you ever had, unless that's the last match. Unless you wrestle one match, you don't ever wrestle again. But so you kind of just, like, you have to get through it, and then after that, you realize your mistakes, and then you have another match, so on, and then, you know, you start building the monster that professional wrestling really turns you.
How do you become that monster? How do you work to improve your in-ring abilities from that first match to now?
Luckily, us spoiled generations is we have the internet, so we can literally study ourselves. But you have to study yourself. You have to be able to take criticism, whether it's from somebody you don't like, somebody you don't care for, or whatever it is. Like, you have to be able to just listen to everyone, and whether you're you see it more and more where, like, and I'm getting out of the phase of doing it where, like, you have a bad match, we storm in the back and super pissy, and everyone looks at you and they're like, you know, you've been there. And I'm starting to get to that phase now where it's just like, whether it's the match is super awful, walk in the back, it is what it is. Like, but as you develop, you kind of have to study your own stuff and see, all right, well, this is what I did wrong here. I could have done this better. I could have changed this. You know, you kind of have to be your own fan in the sense of, and your own critic. You have to watch your own stuff, or even send it to somebody and be like, hey, listen, you know, I need another eye on this. Tell me what you think of it. I mean, most wrestlers will tell you, just, send me a video, and I wouldn't mind critiquing it or watching it and, you know, getting through it that way. And train, always train. Like, because I've gone through periods where, like, I didn't have a place to go train for a minute, and it's just like, you really do start to lose it. It's one of those things that, like, the wrestling world is moving so fast that if you're not moving fast with it, you kind of, you'll see, like, you'll kind of get a couple steps behind it.
Touching on the first thing you said, kind of like storming in the back when you had a bad match and kind of not doing that so much now, do you kind of see that those bad matches offer the same or even more value than the good matches where you can build off of that and improve on that?
Oh, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Because I always phrase it as, like, it's like having a bad day at the office. Like, no matter what, you have to punch in, you have to work your shift, and you have to punch back out. And, like, sometimes wrestling is that way. You punch in at the bell, and, like, so you can't have an amazing match every time. Like, you have decent matches, but things are bound to go wrong or slip-ups, whether they're noticed or not noticed. So it is one of those things where literally having a bad match is such a good thing because you can go, all right, well, boom, that's where I was an idiot. Or that you know what, maybe I shouldn't do that anymore, you know, or having a bad match is a really good thing in the long run because, you know, that's how you develop. It's the same thing as, like, failure is the key to success because if you fail, you get back up, you learn your lesson on what you failed on last time. You know, it's the same as like mixing chemicals or anything like that in a laboratory. You know, it takes two bad chemicals to go. Oh, well, not going to mix those again. Now let's move on to what we're tasking.
Yeah, some of those chemicals you might not get to say that again at all.
No.
Kaboom.
Well, the wrestling business is the same way,
Yeah.
man. I mean, if you're not safe or if you're not improving yourself or trying to do better things, silly accidents could happen. It is a dance, but at the same time, at all times, you have someone else's life in your hands.
It's definitely something where you gotta make sure, one, you believe in yourself, but you believe in the person across the ring from you, because they're not really your opponent in the sense that you guys are working together to put on the performance.
Of course, like I said, it's all a dance, and it takes two to dance. So I mean, trust is a major thing. But that's the thing is like no matter what, when you're going through something like that with somebody, you should know who you're in there with and what their skills are and what your skills are. I mean, it's the same as, like, I'm not going to get in a ring with a guy who's 600 pounds and be like, all right, man, I'm throwing you over my head with a belly-to-belly. That's just not a safe thing to do. Like, that's silly. So, like, that's obviously not. So, like, you have to, like, strengths and weaknesses, you have to know. And there's nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing wrong with sometimes being in your comfort zone. If you know something's way out of your comfort zone, don't do it, because one minor mistake could lead to the most major of mistakes.
You're definitely right about that. Now, not just touching on the in-ring abilities, but how have you kind of worked to develop who your gimmick is? I know we kind of touched on it earlier, but who is the Chubby Daddy? You kind of told us, trade secrets, but who are you when you go out there?
See, that's a really hard thing. It's more of a personal thing. Like, in all reality, the Chubby Daddy is that the side of me that I don't let out as much. I was a pretty wild, rambunctious teenager, very sassy, bad attitude, kind of like human being. And so, like, the Chubby Daddy, all that is like, it's a blend of the person that I became and the person that I was at one point in time. It's more or less, I'm very free loving and very accepting of everyone, but at the same time, I don't like being bothered or messed with. So it's like, I have a very silver tongue at times, where it's just like, and I'm also very sassy, and I feel like that word isn't used as much for men, but I'm definitely gonna bring it into them. And you have so much man sass, it's ridiculous. But like, I'm a very sassy human being. Like, if you throw attitude at me, I'm going to give you the most attitude back, and I feel like sometimes I even clash with women because they think they have that upper hand on attitude, and I'm like, nah. The daddy's got all the attitude in the world. So it's just like, I try to have as much fun as possible. And like the strut, like the funny thing about the strut is people think that I was like trying to copy Flair, and it's just like, if you knew me before, like, I would just get super excited that I kind of would just like strut around a little bit. Like, even like the way I hold my hands and things, like the placement of my hands and everything, like, that is literally just a super excited me. Is like, I'm super excited walking through Walmart, you'll see me strutting. It's just like, that's not like, that's an actual natural thing that comes out of me, and came out of me like before I stepped into a wrestling ring at all, or even tried developing character. But like, the Chubby Daddy is a developing character as it goes on. I can't control it. I don't know where it's gonna go next, but it's one of those things that just, it's a go with the flow kind of thing, and whatever I walk into that day is more gonna reflect the side of the Chubby Daddy that you're gonna see.
And has that connected with the fans, kind of having your gimmick's it's destined to be what it is? It's constantly growing. It's tapping into who you are as well. Has it connected with your fan base?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, like, the thing is people see, I mean, being a good guy, people see that when you come out, that super excited vibe that you can put out. I mean, I'm a very vibe-heavy person, so, like, the vibe that you put out with people is the vibe that you're going to get back. I mean, when you come out and you see that crowd and immediately you embrace them and you address them in that excited manner, they understand it. And even that, I mean, a lot of people connect in the fact that, like, I'm not a normal dude at all. I mean, I feel like people kind of find me funny, which is, not a problem, but like, people connect to it because it's like, I am a little bit flabby, you know what I mean? Like, you can connect to that and see that. Like, the one thing I always hear commentators say is like, oh, he's surprisingly athletic. And it's like, because, I mean, when you look at me, you're not expecting me to be athletic at all, and surprise. I'm slightly athletic, but it is a developing thing, and it could be whoever I want when I want, and I leave it free into that. I mean, it's moldable. It's moldable to what I'm feeling and what I want to be at that point in time.
And that's good because it leaves it open, you know, and you're not restricted in what you're going to do. So you've been doing this and, you know, working on your in-ring skills. What have been kind of some of the best opportunities that you've had since you've started?
I've gotten to meet some really, really good wrestlers and characters along the way who definitely have shed light on me, and I've gotten to be in some good locker rooms. I've gotten to form a friendship with Deshaun Pratt and guys like Tony Deppen and there's guys like at Sight, Sean Carr, Boot Van Slyke, Isis Effects, Cloudy. You know, those are some guys that I've shared locker rooms with and I've gotten to have conversations with. And that, like, being in a good locker room is always great, especially if you could just. Sometimes it's better to have your mouth shut and listen, because, like, you could learn so much just by hearing people talk or hearing people go through things and things like that. I've gotten to share locker rooms with, like, the Rock and Roll Express and Tommy Dreamer and guys like that, and, like, those are some of the guys that will, like, talk to you in the back and give you good advice. And GSW being on the Powerbomb network, that was a good opportunity because some of those Powerbomb shows were bringing in guys that were on bigger levels, so you're able to stand back and kind of talk to them and blend with them and see their perspective and their sides of everything. Because everyone one way or another is different, because we're all different personalities and different human beings. So although a lot of our ideas a lot of time may be similar, they're explained differently, and they are a lot different in a lot of ways. And as of recent, I've gotten to train with Billy Walker. He's from Gleason, and I get to train with him at the Sanctuary on Mondays, and he is somebody who has completely changed my view and changed my way of working, and completely blessed to be able to learn from, I think, a literal human Jedi at this point. I mean, his ideas are incredible.
It definitely seems that you have a good mentality, and a lot of people that we've talked to kind of have that idea that you just kind of got to be, like you said, with even like with your gimmick, but with how you take everything in is moldable, and kind of try to learn as much as you can. Somebody out there is always going to know more than you, and you can always learn something. Like they say, you know, try to learn something new every day.
Everybody you meet knows something that you don't.
Of course. I mean, wrestling is one of those things that you need to have an open mind as well. Because, I mean, if you're too closed-minded, then you could only really work in that group and frame of people who are in that mindset. So, I mean, having an open mind and being open to new ideas, like wrestling is a constant, even if it seems the same at times, or if it isn't as, like, on that main scale of things, it's still always an evolving business, like, in ring and even outside of the ring. So, it's one of those things that you have to be open-minded with it, and you have to be willing to change, or, like, even with the criticism thing, it's one of those things that you have to be willing to listen to somebody completely dog shit you or completely tell you that you're awful. Because if somebody tells you that you're awful and multiple people tell you that you're awful and you're like, I'm awesome, it's like, you know, you might be awesome as a human being, but take that advice and mold it into what it needs to be so you could be better. As, I mean, I've had matches that I thought were decent. I've walked in the back and people were just like, oh, we'll immediately tear it apart. And, I mean, you can go sit in the corner and cry, or you can go, all right, we'll take all that advice in, mentally write it down, and then when the footage is there, watch it and see what everyone says wrong. And, you know, you depict on the rights and wrongs and what you're going to do and what you're not going to do.
Now, we kind of talked about some of the good opportunities that you've had, but what keeps you through, like, the low times? You know, how do you keep yourself going week in, week out?
Well, I mean, you have to have other outlets, and you have to have other things that you have going on and other things that you're doing. I mean, it's just like anybody else. I mean, like, I'm, as much as I am that larger-in-life character at times, like, I also am a normal dude. Like, I work, and, you know, I have a house that I take care of, and I also, you know, I if I don't have a booking, then I try to go and do, you know, other things to keep me active. And I'm really big on, like not messing with people, but, like, working people in public. Like, I like going to the bars and running into people that I haven't seen in years, and they come up and they start asking me silly questions, so I just give them outlandish, silly answers back. Like, you guys obviously know who Johnny Moran is, right?
Yes.
Awesome. So here's a fun little story about Johnny Moran that I've been waiting to say. So me and John Moran are from the same area, and one night we went out to the bar, and these two kids come up to me, and they're like, "Oh my God, I haven't seen you in so long. Like, I heard you're a professional wrestler, like this, that, and the third." And Johnny Moran's standing right next to me. It's me, Johnny Moran, Keita Murray, and Kit Raff. And Keita and Kit know what's about to happen. Johnny Moran has no idea what's about to happen. He had no idea, like, the assholery I was just about to unleash on these people. So I was just like, and as they're about to start asking questions, I'm like, "Oh guys, like actually, like I'm here, like I'm with my boyfriend right now, like it's our anniversary." And like I creep down and just like start holding hands with Johnny Moran, and like they look down and they see it, and Johnny's just like caught. He has no way out at this point in time, and he kind of just like slowly starts getting with the idea, and I'm just like, yeah, like we're really just having like a nice little get together right now to celebrate our love. Like we just got engaged, like blah blah blah. And I reached over, I gave Johnny Moran a kiss on the cheek, and he's like trying not to laugh, but it's kind of looking like a blush. So these people are like just staring at me dumbfounded on like they came up to me to ask me about like my wrestling career, and I turned it around on them, and they're like slowly about to get freaked out, and then I'm just like, I'm just messing with you, and just like completely broke the ice on it. And I think they just like turned around and just like crept away from the situation. I just like, that's just my way of avoiding like people hounding me about me being a wrestler.
Yeah, I mean, you really sold it.
I would have kissed Johnny Moran on the lip if he wasn't such a damn prude.
That's a shame. Now, what are some of your goals for the next year?
Honestly, I'm constantly, I'm really trying to improve as much as I can. I'm definitely trying to be better than I was at the beginning of last year. This is actually the beginning of my third year into the wonderful world of professional wrestling. So I would love, obviously there's many companies I would like to work for, and there's many places I would like to be, but right now I'm trying to just build my brand as much as possible and get myself on the level that I want to be. I would much like to build like my in-ring stuff. And the character, I would like to build that up a lot more and try to build that better. I'm one of those people who I'm very uncomfortable with myself at times. So it's the same thing with like exposing myself out there. I don't like embarrassment. So like constantly trying to be better because I don't want to embarrass myself in the ring or look bad in any sort of manner. Like that's a really big thing for me right now, is just trying to get myself where I want to be comfortably in the ring, to where like I'm not shy to do things or not backing myself up, because there's times where I walk in the ring and it's just like mentally I'm not there, and it's just like I'm trying to make the Chubby Daddy into a bigger, better creation for this year than I was last year, 100%. Like my main goal this year is to truly try to build myself up to where the grand vision of me being is.
And it's definitely, I mean, you're in the right time to do that with social media. Just again, people, do not search Chubby Daddy on Instagram.
Do not go with Trajan first. That is, it's super easy to spell, Trajan.
Yeah, Matt.
Search that first.
Jan. You should see how Matt spelled it on the sheet he wrote for this.
Oh man, how did he spell it?
Aww.
How'd you spell it, Matt?
Trajon.
Oh, that's not so bad. If you would have put an O before the A, I probably would have been slightly pissed. Because like that's like, dude, 5th grade baseball signups. I walk up and they're like, Trojan, like your parents didn't want to name you after the condom that broke. And I'm like, I don't even know what the hell a condom is. I'm like 5.
I think it's Google's fault.
I don't know. It took me a lot of Googles to find Trajan the Chubby Daddy horn.
Well, if you type in Trajan, you'll get like what the name like comes from, which is I'm named after a Roman emperor. Which also is funny because I often find myself in locker rooms pulling out my driver's license to show people that my name is 100% Trajan Horn. That's like, there's no switch up there. There's no, like, that's my actual name. And I also give out my social security number at the merch table because nothing is sacred here. I'm giving out my real name. Might as well just go the whole way.
Oh, man. Going full meta.
Complete joke. I'm not serious whatsoever.
What's your social security number?
That's the concussion talking.
If you would like my phone number, you can just send your girlfriend on over and I'll give it to her. And, if she hands it back over, she can hand it back over.
Well, I already have it.
Very true. See, you're one of the lucky ones who has my phone number. But don't hold on to it for long because I change my number every year. It's like I try to keep a mystique to the Chubby Daddy. So,
try and pretend you're off the grid a little.
Yeah, just for like a week. And I'll be like, hey, I'm back. And people are like, oh, I didn't know you were gone. And I was just like, yeah, I really did some soul searching. They're like, it's been 4 days. I saw you the other day at brunch.
You got some stubble on your face.
I have a strange dog, and I'm wearing patchwork pants, and I have dreadlocks, and and I'm trying to barter for like trail mix.
Oh no, guys, he's going Wookie again.
I wanted that to come full circle here.
Now you gave us the Instagram. How can people find you safely on, Facebook, Twitter?
Well, I don't have a Twitter. So Twitter confuses the hell out of me. If you can find me on AIM and MySpace.
AIM is gone, man. Dunzo.
No,
a couple months ago, right?
My like page is Trajan the Chubby Daddy Horn on Facebook, on Instagram. It's also Trajan the Chubby Daddy Horn. I have Facebook right now, and I have Instagram. They're like the two main things that I go off of. Eventually, I'll have a Twitter. Technically, there is a Twitter, and Jamie Senegal created, for our tag teams. If I just create one for our tag team, then technically you have to use it and you can learn. And I don't remember the login or if it still exists or any of that. I don't use Twitter. It's very confusing.
Well, you should probably learn how to use it. It works pretty good.
I love Twitter.
Thanks, guys. Way to dad me in there. Someday you're going to need that Twitter. You should really learn how to use it. It's only been around for 10 years.
They gave you 240 characters. You learn, though. That's the hard part, is learning how to say what you want to say in 280 now? Yeah.
260.
260.
It was 180. No, yeah.
Are we talking about my weight, or are we talking about characters?
No, it's 140.
Twitter characters.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna just, if I get a Twitter, I'm only gonna speak in hieroglyphics. I'm gonna be that guy.
I will follow you.
There's accounts that do that, man. I don't know how that's gonna help you not be confused on there, but sure.
Well, if I have to be confused, you all have to be confused with. That's
fair enough.
That's the
all right.
If I'm confused, you guys are confused. And I'm going to be an old man on Twitter and just be completely confused. Just post really bad, blurry pictures of my face and just doing awful, random things that old men do.
You could just be...
Oh, I'm in the kitchen.
You'd be one of those dudes that handwrites everything on a piece of computer paper, takes a screenshot, and then posts that as your tweet.
Oh, man. You know what? You guys are on to something. You guys are really feeding the fire here that you're not going to be able to put out once it starts to blaze. So
That's what we do.
I'm going to be that guy. From now on, I'm writing everything down on all social media. I'm going to start writing statuses
Oh, my
for
God.
Facebook and posting those.
I mean, it's perfect for Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and the funny thing is I'll post the picture on Instagram and then I'll rewrite it in the caption anyway.
Caption.
So it's just in all reality, I could have just posted some dumb picture and then that. Instead, I'm making you read twice. There's nothing. It's like a double text. And someone's going to do the same thing twice. You're all eager to read both, and you're like, I read it twice.
Yeah, wait, am I just... You think they get halfway through? This sounds familiar.
I definitely have been down this road before. And then you realize that you're just an idiot. And your eyes aren't dry because of the weather.
I thought the second one would have provided some depth.
There's no explanation to Section A.
You rewrite that and you throw some you throw some drama in there. I want ... and all kinds of excitement. I want LOLs and emojis.
All right, so this is our Memorial Day episode.
Oh, yeah.
When can we see you in the ring again?
Never again. I just retired.
Just retired on the gimmick table.
I've decided to become a showgirl.
You heard it here, folks.
It's my lifelong dream. Little does everyone know that I've just been working my way up to become a drag queen, and you'll never see me in the ring again. Which is also a complete lie. You can see me.
I mean, we're gonna support you either way, man.
Yeah, man.
You know, we'll promote your drag shows.
I'm definitely going to become the chubby mama. It's going to be a very popular thing. Everyone's going to love it. It's not going to be a gimmick in the wrestling world. I don't want anyone to follow it in that way whatsoever. See, this is all one big work just so I can get you to my calendar, which then I can let you know that June 2nd, I will be at PCWA. And June 9th, I'll be at Apex in Williamsport. And I don't give the rest of the dates out because the gentleman never gives them that too far away because everyone forgets. So I like to hit people like a week or 2 weeks in it, like right before, so it's fresh in people's heads. People are going to listen to this once and be like, I don't want to see Trajan wrestle anymore.
Well, keep us up to date. We'll definitely help share whatever you got going on out there. Post it on our pages. But this is where the show stops being serious, all right? We kind of get a little wild.
Oh, yeah, we've been so serious.
All right, so I'm going to hand it over to the concussed co-host and let him lead the way when we unhinge the gimmick table.
Nice alliteration.
I try. I love alliteration.
All right, so we'll just do another full circle and have you relive your 19-year-old band grubbing days. And how about we put a band together with some of your wrestling buddies here. Now, don't worry about their actual musical talent. Just pretend they can actually play like the instrument that you want them to play. But you know what I mean? You know how like drummers are drummers and bassists are bassists. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
Right. All right. So put your band together, bro.
All right. Oh man, this is tough. This is a tough one. 100%. I definitely have Kit Raff in the band. I want to put Kit Raff on bass because I feel like he would have a good, like, nice, strong bass stance with a nice snarl. But he's so damn handsome. I don't know if I can put him on bass, but I'm gonna throw him on bass anyway.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna say Dave Navarro right there. So
boom, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I got Keita Murray, and he's on the synth because I feel like he would just be a real smooth mamma jamma on the synthesizer. Every once in a while, he breaks out with like one of those guitars and plays a wicked guitar solo. I'm not gonna lie, I've been digging it heavy. I think Mike Skyros might be my frontman, and like this is tough because like I'm a frontman kind of guy, but like Mike Skyros might be my frontman, 100%.
It's tough to relinquish that role, yeah.
I mean, right now I put him there as he is the Axl Rose of professional wrestling, 100%. And then I guess if he comes, then I guess I have to have who do I want on the drums though? That's a tough question right there because I'm gonna manage this band. I'm not even gonna play in it. This is where you're smart and you take the side step because you can make all the money. They don't make any money once you're a sketchy manager. Chubby Daddy right now is in a sketchy manager phase. I'm just gonna take all their money and tell them that there's a contractual misagreement and then we're good and everything is fine and dandy, and I'll pay them way later, 100%. But I feel like it's gonna be a funky band, but it's also gonna have some really heavy punk undertones to it as well.
All right,
attracting all the Wookiees and Crust Punks.
I feel like this is gonna be a really good blend for the Wookiees and the Crust Punks to finally come together.
That's
and,
it.
Collide into their own little genre.
And we'll lure them to a show, and I can rescue all the dogs.
Whoa.
That's the main scheme in this, is that we're rescuing all the nomadic animals that come along with these strange creatures of the night and alleyways.
Yeah, we'll just have a bunch of, like, songs about, like, loving your pet and everything. We'll make it pet-friendly shows, and then when they come there, their pets just disappear, and we take them.
That's not going to work. You really have to have songs about ketamine and 40s,
right?
And that's how and breaking the law, and that's how you get all of them together. Is you have to give them something to anthem. You have to give them an anthem, something about like hating cops and ketamine and.
It's okay to waste your life doing drugs. That's perfectly normal.
Yeah, and we'll hand out drug rugs to everyone so they can have those hoodies on. And
well, it works as a blanket too, man. Dual function.
It does. I went to a festival once and I took a nap on a field on one of those. I was all tuckered out.
On a Wookie?
No, on a Wookie. No, on one of those nice, comfortable hoodies. Not on a strange, smelly, hitchhiking human.
They're so comfortable, though.
I don't know what you're talking about at this point, and the answer is no.
I hope whoever actually runs this podcast doesn't listen to it, and they're like, you know what? Let's cut that episode. Hurry up. Interview somebody else. Call that stand-up Johnny Moran guy that he was talking about, have him come and replace him.
We're self-financed by me, so.
The beauty of that is Matt runs this show.
So now I know who runs the show, and I think you've done an awful job on picking who
You should get somebody else.
First of all, I knew from the moment I met you I wanted to interview you.
Oh man! And then you didn't realize that I just blabber a lot, and I'm kind of awkward. And you're like, damn it!
Are you
gotta
kidding
cut
me?
this.
Why do you think he's friends with me?
Yeah, we are the two most awkward people that we know. Except for our friend David, but he might be a serial killer. Shout out
That's
to you,
a different
David.
kind of awkward.
Don't say that now. Don't loop me in with your serial killer friend Dave. You know, like, he's like giving me like my phone number's probably on here. Like he's calling me, and he's like, "So what else did you guys talk about?" It's like, Dave, I don't even know you.
Look, man, if he wants to find you, he's gonna find you. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave, you're probably a wonderful guy. I'm glad that you're listening to this podcast here. I'm Trajan Horn, and you're a wonderful human being. We should be friends and not murdered in your backyard.
Good job. That'll work.
Definitely. That'll keep you safe. That's why we do a Twitch stream with him playing video games. So when he snaps, he'll remember how nice we were.
Exactly. But you keep him away from the crust punk pets because, serial killers and pets don't work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, poor pups.
Poor Dave, he has
Dave.
to, like, protect his rep now. He's like, hey, you guys should listen to my buddy's podcast. And we're just like, Dave's a serial killer. He's like, you're going to get Dave fired from his job.
No, probably not. No, I work with him. He's fine. Everybody there thinks the same thing.
Oh, good. Yeah, so...
Like, it would be one of those things, like, if he does, like, murder a bunch of people and find out, and the cops come and interview, like, hey, did you think there was any sign? Oh, yeah, no, he was definitely...
That's his biggest fear, is that if he ever gets, accused of something he didn't do, and they came to us, we'd be like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Dave may or may not be a serial killer. We don't know. Either way, I'm not looking forward to meeting Dave someday, because my luck and the way irony works is I'm going to bump into Dave in a bar, and he's going to be like,
Probably
you're a Chubby Daddy, right? I'm
no.
like, yeah. He's like, oh, so you think I'm a serial killer? And then I get stabbed, and...
Well, let me just say, whatever David you've concocted in your mind is far more intimidating than the real David. I can tell you that 100%. The only thing he ever did is one time he made a face so scary I dubbed it the murder face, and it made me come up with a whole concept for a comic book based on the face he made.
Whether myth or not, seeing is believing. But right now in my head, I think that Dave. I'm sure he's great. I'm sure he's a great guy.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. David is a wonderful guy, so we all live tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
Trajan, this has been a wonderful time. We appreciate you coming on the show, and we're definitely going to have to do this in the future, and hopefully we get the opportunity to see you at Excite.
Absolutely, I would love to. I had a wonderful time at Excite. I had a wonderful time working in front of a beautiful crowd. I love coming to New York. I've been up a few times. It's absolutely wonderful. I look forward to doing this with you guys again. The last podcast I was on, they shut down I think a week after the podcast that I did, so you guys have to not shut down, and then I'll 100% be on your show again, and we have a whole new exploration on Wookiees and Crust Punks and the Chubby Daddy.
All right, sounds like a plan, sir.
Alrighty, peace out, guys. It was a wonderful time.
See you, man.
Have a good one. All right, everybody, that does it for us today here at the Gimmick Table. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate your time, and thank you to Trajan Horn, the Chubby Daddy, for joining us today. Had a lot of fun, Bats. Very serious episode, as I said, as we wrapped up.
Yeah, a lot of deep conversation going on there.
It went meta for a while, lots of Wookiees and Crust Punks. But hey, what are you going to do? The world is full of them. And if you want to help us out so we don't turn into Wookiees or Crust Punks that don't have to barter to keep the show going, make sure you support the show by subscribing on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasting fix from. You can also interact with us on social media. We do have a Twitter, at @gimmick_table. We can also find us on Facebook and Instagram. Just search the Gimmick Table Wrestling Podcast. Don't forget to check out our website, gimmicktablepod.com, for all our interviews, cover art, and contests. And don't forget to support our friends. Bats, do you remember our friends at this point in time?
The DJG? PWO? That's what it is?
PWO, available on all major platforms, including iTunes and Google Play, buddy. All right. Do you remember their names?
Well, I know one of them is WNA Podcast. We got Smark Spot Podcast. Who else? Boar Meets World, Wretched Wrestling, and I know I'm forgetting the guys down under the broadcast.
All right, we're not taking him to the hospital. He's fine. This concussion shit is a bunch of nonsense. But we hope everybody enjoys their Memorial Day. Have a safe one. We'll be back.
See ya.